Leaked body cam and internal investigation footage from East Cleveland contains several disturbing revelations for the department. On October 2nd, an East Cleveland police officer, who I will refer to as Officer Smith in order to protect his identity, made a traffic stop that resulted in a sizable drug seizure. Smith's body cam captured the arrest and search of the vehicle.
You clear that gun? Render it safe.
The footage shows Smith to be a well-trained, even-tempered, and diligent police officer. Without violence or aggression, Smith removes his suspect from the driver's seat, calls for backup, and waits with the suspect for more officers to arrive before initiating a vehicle search. All the while, Smith is calmly keeping his suspect informed of what he is doing and why, and once his backup arrives, Smith begins to photograph and search the vehicle.
Signal 3, 3122, final dispo. We'll be back around 1843 Charles.
Can y'all transport him back for me?
3122.
I'll do all the paperwork for it.
You want me where you told me to take off?
Like they want us to do the traffic and then do the paperwork later. Oh shit. Oh no shit. Ow. This is the lick. Yeah.
When Smith returned to the station, he and another officer began cataloging the evidence in the dispatch room because apparently the computer in the evidence room was down. Since there were no cameras installed in the dispatch room, Smith set up his body cam on a wall behind him to record. While Smith and the other officer were tagging the evidence, Commander Larry McDonald enters the room and pulls Smith out into the hallway. The body cam footage was unable to pick up any audio from that conversation, but Smith recounted what was said in an interview with Detective Joeseph Marche, and we'll get back to Joseph in a bit.
Okay, so he called you out there, and what did he say?
He said he told me to come. He wanted me to come to the jail office with him, and he asked me if I can put a couple bags of weed away from him for him. And I told him made an excuse, mistake. I told him, because I recorded all on my body camera already.
Moments after that exchange, McDonald enters the room with Smith, and the body cam catches him continuing to lament the fact that he doesn't have any pot to bring home to his girlfriend.
He did walk in and he stated something within the lines of he would something about like taking the marijuana. He would take some of the marijuana and take it to a female, like, this is daddy got you or something, and that sort of, I can't recall it offhand.
Okay.
I appreciate everything you did for me. Now I can't get lucky tonight. I thought I was gonna get lucky. You know what I'm saying? Oh.
Who did he say that to? Both of you, or you, or?
He was standing in between both of us.
Okay.
But when I heard it, I kind of like nudged him, like, dude, chill. Like,
because your camera was on.
Yeah, my camera's running.
Take some man from my little hand. Look, baby, look what daddy brought you. You know. Yeah.
Has he ever done that before?
No, not with me.
No?
No.
Do you think that he was serious with what he said, or do you think that he was joking around?
I can't say. I don't know. I mean, if he was playing, there's nothing to be playing about. I mean, you can't say things like that.
No, you can't.
Just put the flowers down. Just like, baby, I'm gonna give it to you. This is it. Boy, you boy.
And I agree with you. You can't joke around like that, especially when there's cameras rolling. Mm-hmm. And even if there wasn't cameras rolling,
just some stuff you shouldn't be saying.
It's stuff that police officers shouldn't be saying, especially one that's in charge of the platoon, and he's saying that to his patrolman.
This story has gone largely unnoticed by the local press. Hannah Catlett of Channel 19 News did produce a story about this incident on November 2nd, which pretty much covered everything I've shown you so far. Also in that report, East Cleveland City Council Vice President Juanita Gowdy was quoted, stating that the council is investigating and that McDonald has been reassigned from commander to sergeant. Catlett concluded by mentioning that the FBI is investigating McDonald, but could not confirm that the investigation was directly related to this incident. Unfortunately for Channel 19's viewers, there's quite a bit more to this story that they left out. For instance, I think it's important to point out that in October of 2019, barely a year ago, Larry McDonald was suspended for 10 days after allegations emerged that he had released a woman from jail in exchange for a promise of a date. Also omitted from their coverage was this moment from Smith's body cam footage where McDonald apparently threatened Smith.
One day I'm gonna kill you. You want to kill me? One day I'm gonna kill you. Okay.
Now, for some reason, neither Smith nor the officer that assisted him with the evidence mentions this threat in their interviews with Marche. I can only assume it's being passed off as a joke, but as Officer Marche says,
You can't joke around like that.
now, speaking of Detective Joeseph Marche, he was last in the news in 2017 when footage emerged of his arrest by the Bratenahl Police.
Said he's breathing. I don't know, he's breathing.
Marche was found drunk and under the influence of prescription drugs while on duty. Body cam footage shows that he initially attempted to drive away when the officers woke him up.
Open the window. Stop! Stop! Get out of the car. Get out of the car. Get out of the car, I'm gonna tase you.
Officers later discovered that Marche was driving around with his full SWAT kit in the trunk, including an MP7 machine gun. In the video, Marche is belligerent with the officer interviewing him and seemingly resentful of the fact that he didn't receive more special treatment than he did.
I didn't resist anything.
Okay, listen.
I didn't resist
All right,
anything.
well, listen to me. I'm going to give you respect.
All right.
Listen to me.
Please do.
You're fucking
Please do.
wasted. You sit down.
Listen.
Sit down. Sit down.
Listen.
Sit down, Joe.
Hey,
Joe,
how about
sit
that?
down. I know.
How about that?
Sit down. I understand that. Right. I can't drive around drunk and fucking have my weapon on me. We shouldn't be able to do that, sir. On top of it, you have all your turnout gear, your kit in the back, and your fucking MP7 in the back.
I do.
Oh, come on. Hate to do this to you. I really do.
I'm not doing anything.
Oh, sit down. Sit down.
I'm not doing
Sit
that
Joe.
fucking thing.
All right, that's fine. Sit down. No problem.
You know.
Sit down.
You know.
Sit down,
You
Joe.
know.
Sit down, please.
No.
Sit down.
I'm
I
not
do.
doing
I
it.
get it.
I'm not
But
doing it.
you put my teammates in a bad position. And I get
How do
it.
I put your guys in a bad position?
Joe,
Let
you
me
were
ask
passed out on the side of the street, sir.
Okay.
You were passed out
So-
over there. Listen.
so-
Go ahead.
so-
Go ahead. You can talk.
No, go ahead.
You were passed out on the side of the street. My partner had to freaking knock on the window several times. You put it in park and went to drive away. And I know for a fact the way you're handling yourself right now, if this was EC and someone did that to you, you'd be doing the same fucking thing, sir.
You know what?
You know I'm right,
You know what? I'll
right?
tell you what. I'll tell you what.
You're starting to smirk because you know I'm right.
No, I'll tell you what. I probably would.
I know. I
probably
know.
would. I probably would. But I would not jam up one of your guys.
I got you.
Are you fucking kidding me?
Nothing
Are
I
you
can do
serious?
about it. I got to do my job,
Let
man.
me tell you something. I'll tell you what. Do your job. But I'll tell you what. Come on the other side of the bridge. I'll do my job. Bro, I
Did you have
am
a commercial?
fucking SWAT operator. I run SWAT.
You have a commercial driver's license if you submit to
Are you
test or
kidding
test
me?
email placed out of service. I just talked to him.
I'll tell you what. He would fucking throw up with what you guys are doing right now. But that's cool. Do what you gotta do. I'll tell you what. One day.
Don't
We'll
fucking
see.
threaten me, dude.
No, I'm not
Okay.
threatening you.
I don't fucking want to do this,
Well,
man. But
I'm threatened. Now I'm
don't
threatening
fucking listen.
Come on,
I don't
man.
want to fucking.
Hopefully
I don't.
there's cameras.
Yes, there is cameras.
Ah, thank goodness.
All right.
Marche's problems go way back before that, however, all the way back to his very first appointment. Marche completed basic training on January 30th, 1997. According to Ohio law, he had 1 year to secure an appointment with the police department before he would be required to take a refresher course. Marche was appointed with the Put-in-Bay Police on May 13th, 1998, nearly 16 months after completing basic training. That meant he had to complete a refresher course within 1 year of his appointment, May 13th, 1999. Only 5 months later, Marche transferred to East Cleveland. According to records from the Ohio Police Officer Training Academy, or OPATA, Marche did not complete a refresher course until July 7th, 2005, nearly 6 years after it was due. OPATA, however, let Marche off the hook and sent him a letter on April 6th stating that his training requirements had been met. And in September of 2005, Marche resigned from East Cleveland and took a job with Blackwater as a security specialist. He returned to the city in August 2009 when he was reinstated as an auxiliary reserve officer. Now, after such a long break in service, Marche was required to take basic training within a year of his new appointment. And once again, he failed to do so. On October 6th, 2 months past the deadline, Marche took a refresher course instead of the full basic training, and yet OPATA deemed this satisfactory in contradiction to Ohio state laws governing police training. Marche wasn't actually brought on as a full-time officer until 2018. This is 1 year after his arrest in Bratenahl. All of this leads us to the most important aspect of the story that Channel 19 and many of the news media have overlooked. Marche and McDonald are two of dozens of East Cleveland police officers that have been identified by legal watchdog group Chasing Justice LLC as being in legal cease function, according to Ohio state law, due to deficiencies in their state-mandated continued professional training, or CPT. Peace officers in cease function are not allowed to engage in law enforcement. They cannot carry firearms, they cannot run plates, and they cannot make arrests. Marche has received 7 cease function letters over the course of his career, and to date, Chasing Justice has found 1 cease function letter from McDonald and has been unable to find any records that demonstrate McDonald has ever been up to date on his CPT.
We started finding multiple cease function letters for persons who were operating in East Cleveland. We also found that East Cleveland has a lot of people who work there. The state does not know that they're working there. They never reported them to the state of Ohio, that they were holding an appointment and acting as peace officers, and that those persons did not have training for 10, 12 years.
Any officer who has a break in service of more than 1 year, as Marche did, reverts to cease function. In order to be reinstated, an officer must take a refresher course within 1 year of their appointment, and the executive director of OPATA must write a letter granting permission. To date, Chasing Justice has been unable to obtain a copy of this letter. Chasing Justice currently has litigation pending in East Cleveland calling for arrest warrants to be issued for several officers, including Marche and McDonald. In 2019, Crenshaw and her team forced an audit of the department by OPATA that revealed East Cleveland had received over $10,000 in reimbursement training funds that they were not entitled to, and the city was forced to pay those funds back to OPATA.
I and someone else under Ohio Revised Code 2935.08, 09, and 10, which allows private citizens to make a citizen's arrest. We filed against the entire East Cleveland Police Department. We filed an injunction to shut that department down and to hold them accountable, and hopefully send a message throughout the entire state of Ohio that if you're going to operate like this, then we're going to use the rules and the codes, because you are literally impersonating a police officer. You don't have legal authority to engage in law enforcement. You are costing millions and millions of dollars to taxpayers. that can never be paid out of that poor little city. That poor little city will never be able to pay out $50 million lawsuits that are happening.
As of today, the only action that the mayor's office has taken is to verbally reprimand McDonald. Now, for more detailed and on-the-ground reporting of the corruption in East Cleveland, you should really check out ejbnews.com. It's the publication of veteran Cleveland journalist and former East Cleveland mayor Eric Brewer. Brewer's reporting style is somewhat inflammatory, but I think it's appropriate and earned considering how much skin he has in the game. In 2009, Brewer's mayorship was derailed when photos of him dressed in women's clothes were released. Brewer lost his primary run due to the scandal, which he alleges was orchestrated by the police department that he aimed to clean up. And from what I'm learning about this department, I find that to be a very plausible scenario. Chasing Justice's investigation into East Cleveland's OPATA records have now sprawled into cities all over Ohio. I discovered their work while investigating the Euclid Police Department as part of a documentary I'm working on. And if you want to learn more about Chasing Justice's work, especially in this realm, be sure to check out my full interview with Mariah Crenshaw and my most recent story about what her work has turned up in Euclid. You'll find the link in the description of this video or the podcast. So please like, subscribe, comment, and ring that bell to be notified of future videos. I will be covering more of Chasing Justice's work on police officer training in the future, as well as following up with this story as updates come in. I am 100% audience supported via Patreon and Substack. As a new journalist, I can just really use all the help I can get. Until I hit about the $1,500 a month mark in donations, I'm going to have to devote a significant portion of my time to hustling up web design and development work. So if you can't help me out with Patreon support, but you know someone who needs a website, let me know. That's a big help too. All right. I didn't write an outro, but thankfully, I don't think most people stick around this long. They usually bow out once I start, saying thanks or asking for support. So it's probably just the two of us right now. Just me and you, the lone weirdo who watches videos to the end. So if that is you, leave a comment. Say, hey, I'm here, and maybe someone else was here too, and you can find each other and make friends, and that's a beautiful thing. And I don't know how to stop talking, so I'll just end awkwardly as I usually do.